Welcome to Tanakh Talk. I am your host, William Hall, broadcasting live from Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT, Totally Not True, with Rabbi Stuart the Man Federow from the Big H, Houston, Texas. Welcome back. Rabbi, how are you this wonderfully fine evening?
I'm fine. How are you on this great and wonderful day?
Good. I was to say the great and fearful day of the Lord. Oh, that'd be a good topic, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. For
sure. Okay, we got to get my volumes adjusted here. Something's out of whack. So y'all bear with me in YouTube land if you don't mind.
Out of whack.
Check.
Is that like Anawhack?
Wow. Sometimes I think my soundboard has got issues. My mic I'm using is actually a 48 volt thing, a condenser mic, and I don't know if that makes it change its flux or well, I'm not really sure how that works. But anyway, I can fix it in post. That's for sure. So there you go. Let me make sure that we are viewable in YouTube land. Oh, give me 1 second because it's not. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Bear with me.
Yeah, that's where I am looking for.
We're not public yet. Hold on. It was set to private because of it's a brand new thing I've got to start doing. Done. Okay, save. Okay, now it's public. All right. Literally just now switched to public. So apparently, whenever I edit my videos, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. When I edit my videos, I have to mark it public until it's done. But apparently when you change the setting for one video, it changes it globally so that all future videos keep the same setting. It did it earlier today with Rabbi Skobac, but I forgot it did it. This time, hopefully, it'll be a good reminder. So I apologize, you guys, if y'all are just tuning in. Welcome to the show. All right. So 1,384 videos. Was the fourth man in the fire really Jesus? Raymond Reef, it is a pleasure seeing you in YouTube land, sir.
Can't see any. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yep, very good.
I have to write my hi all.
That was my Golden Gun. Welcome. Sorry, I forgot to set the video to public. It was on private because I was editing a video earlier, and apparently it takes that setting as a blanket. So there you go. So this is a good one. Going to see you both. Oh, really? So, Raymond, are you going to Dallas? Hello, Rockin'.
Oh, good.
Rockin'
Raymond's coming to Dallas. This must be what that means.
Must be. Big J, welcome. Yeah. Taz, welcome. All right, here we go. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Linda, welcome back.
Here we go again.
Here I go again. Okay. All right, so here's where we're going. So, it was the fourth man in the fire really Jesus? That is the question. He had the appearance. Ironically, it said in the way the Christians use it, it said something like he looked in the fire and there appeared this figure like the son of whatever.
God.
I'm like, how do they know what the figure was if he had never showed up yet? So that's funny.
The Daniel biblical text is a lot more subtle than that, but it is very powerful.
Real quick.
And it amazes me that Christians are blind to it. But go ahead.
Ray Oshima, welcome. Andrea, thank you for joining us again. She's chief admin out there. She's kicking it. Crystal Cheney, welcome again. Is the sound okay in YouTube land? That's what I want to know. I'm going to have to edit it after the fact anyway, but that's okay. Fourth man was Joseph Smith. Paul Wang, that's a good one.
Sounds okay.
That works. That would make more sense, I guess. So. All right. Wait, yes. Okay, comments are coming out of order, I think. So is the sound good? Yes. Okay, very good. All is good. Okay, thank you both. Okay, Rabbi, we'll go and continue on. And let's take this thing and get rid of that.
All right, well, the first thing we have to look at,
I don't have anything pulled up yet. So once you talk about it, just go with it and I'll pull it up as you're talking, okay?
All right. Well, the first thing, again and again and again, as we always say, context. So take a look, not at Daniel 3, but at Daniel 2, the chapter preceding the, what's it called?
Okay.
Fire pit story.
Okay, 1 second.
Yep, and we're looking actually at almost the whole chapter. We may skip around or skip some verses, but it's basically the whole chapter because you're setting up Daniel 3. Why all of a sudden is he creating this this massive idol for people to bow down to?
Right.
Why is he making it all of gold? Okay.
Okay.
Why is it so important to Nebuchadnezzar? Why is it so important to him that if you don't bow down to this idol, he's going to throw you into the fire?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to look at Daniel chapter 2 for that.
All right. I'm adding this in now. Screen capture. Your screen capture. Add. I've got to change this. You can go and start talking about it if you want to, and that way it'll...
All right. If you take a look at Daniel chapter 2, it talks about a dream that Nebuchadnezzar has. And, oh, by the way, it's important to remember who we're talking about. Who is Nebuchadnezzar? He's the emperor or king or whatever of Babylon. Okay? In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, and his spirit was troubled, and his sleep broke from him. Then the king commanded to all the magicians, and the enchanters, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to tell the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king, and the king said to them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit is troubled to know the dreams. Then spoke the Chaldeans to the king in Aramaic. And by the way, another thing that's important to understand.
Syriac is Aramaic?
No.
It says,
Aramaic is Aramaic. It may have,
King James says Syriac.
Okay, fine. But the language they're speaking now, the language of the passages in Daniel,
I see what you mean, right. Got it.
Switches to Aramaic.
I see what you mean. Yep.
Call it whatever you want. Okay, but Aramaic.
Yep.
Okay.
Very good.
Then spoke the Chaldeans to the king in Aramaic. O king, live forever. And when they say, O king, live forever, what does that really mean? And I may sound like I'm joking, but I'm really not. What does O king, live forever really mean?
Oh, man.
Live long and prosper.
Oh, that's funny. Sorry, guys. I need an extra monitor here. I'm overlapping all kinds of screens here because I don't have enough. The work computer was taken away, so I don't have enough. Bear with me. Is all I'm asking because I've got a bunch of screens.
Nobody knows.
It's okay.
All right. So
yeah, they do because it actually keeps covering up the screen on YouTube land too. So I've got to figure out how to do that. Hang on. This might work here.
All right.
Oh yeah, we're good now.
Okay. So on the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled and his sleep broke from him. So he couldn't sleep. Then the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers, the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said to them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spoke the Chaldeans to the king of... And you just moved it, so now I can't read it because I can't see it anymore.
That's the bad thing about video time because I moved it like 10 seconds ago. So now I don't know what you're looking for.
I'm looking for verse 4, I think.
Okay. Hold on, I can't see it. Yeah, I gotta get the new config. There it is. You're on screen now.
All right. Now don't move it. Just leave it alone until I tell you to move it, okay?
You got it, boss.
Now you move it again. Okay. Then spoke the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, okay, Aramaic. O king, live forever. Tell the servants the dream, and we will show you the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. In other words, he can't remember his dream. If you will not make known to me the dream with the interpretation thereof, you're going to be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if you can tell me the dream and the interpretation thereof, you shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor, and therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. So, on the premise he cannot remember his dream, he wants them to prove themselves that they're really being shown from God or whoever they're looking at what the dream was, and then to give the interpretation so that he'll know the interpretation is an accurate portrayal of the dream. Otherwise, how would they know the dream? They answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we'll show the interpretation. And the king says, I know of certainty that you would gain the time because you see the thing is gone from me. But if you will not make known to me the dream, there is but one decree for you, and you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation thereof. In other words, if you wait for me to tell you the dream, you're going to be able to make up something. But if you can tell me the dream, then I can trust your interpretation, okay? Now move it up so that verse 10 is still visible. Okay, the Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man on earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such things of any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. Okay?
Okay.
So, all right. So, verse 11. And it is a hard thing that the king asks, and there is none other that can declare it before the king except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. So the decree went forth, and the wise men were to be slain, and they sought Daniel's companions to be slain. Then Daniel returned, answered with counsel and discretion to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, who was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so peremptory from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would be given time that he might declare to the king the interpretation. And this is verse 17. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they might ask mercy of the God of heaven concerning the secret, that Daniel, his companion, should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then was the secret revealed to Daniel in a vision of the night. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel spoke and said, blessed be the name of God from everlasting, even unto everlasting, for wisdom and might are his. And he changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to them who know understanding. He reveals the deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and the light dwells with him. And he thanks God. Okay, verse 24. Let's go look at 24. Therefore Daniel went into Arioch, whom the king had appointed to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said this to him, don't destroy the wise men of Babylon. Bring me before the king, and I will declare to the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and he said this to him, I have found a man of the children of the captivity of Judah that will make known unto you the king the interpretation. The king spoke and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, are you able to make known to me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered before the king and said, the secret which the king has asked can neither wise men, enchanters, magicians, or astrologers declare to the king, but there is a God in heaven that reveals secrets, and he's made known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the end of days. The end of days. God revealed to Nebuchadnezzar the future of his country, Babylon. Your dream and the visions of your head upon your bed are these. As for thee, O king, your thoughts came into your mind upon your bed, what should come to pass hereafter, and he that reveals secrets has made known to you what should come to pass. But as for me, the secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have, more than any living, but to the intent that the interpretation may be made known to the king, and that you may know the thoughts of your heart. So now we come to the interpretation of the dream, which is really going to make Nebuchadnezzar angry. You, O king, saw and beheld a great image. This image, which was mighty and whose brightness was surpassing, stood before you, and the appearance thereof was terrible. As for that image, listen carefully, its head was of fine gold, its breast and its arms of silver, its belly and its thighs of brass, its legs of iron, its feet part of iron and part of clay. So you have four sections of this giant man, okay? Verse 34, you saw till that the stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon its feet that were of iron and clay and broke them into pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken in pieces together and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away so that no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. That's the dream. This is verse 36. That's the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. You, O king, king of kings, unto whom God of heaven has given the kingdom, the power, and the strength, and the glory, and wheresoever the children of men, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the heaven dwell, has he given them to your hand, and has made you to rule over them all. You are the head of gold. And here's the kicker line. And after you shall arise another kingdom inferior to you, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaks in pieces and beats down all things, and as iron that crushes all these shall it break in pieces and crush. And whereas you saw the feet and toes part of potter's clay.
What verse are you on?
Verse 41.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I'm glad you stopped me so people can see this.
Okay.
Verse 41. And whereas you saw the feet and toes part of potter's clay and part of iron, it shall be a divided kingdom, but there shall be in it of the firmness of the iron, for as much as you saw the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so part of the kingdom shall be strong, and part thereof broken. And whereas you saw the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves by the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron does not mingle with clay. You cannot melt clay into iron. It doesn't become a what's it called when you mix two metals together? Can't remember. And in the days of those, this is verse 44, and in the days of those kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, nor shall the kingdom be left to another people. It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, but it shall stand forever. For as much as you saw that a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it broke in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what shall come to pass thereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. So Nebuchadnezzar is being told that his empire, his nation, his land is going to not last. There are going to be 3 ruling powers over his land, and then like a 5th power, the clay, is going to rule forever. Okay? It's not going to make Nebuchadnezzar feel pretty good. Okay, verse 46, still in Daniel chapter 2. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel and commanded that they should offer an offering and sweet odors to him. The king spoke to Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets, seeing that you have not been able to reveal this secret. Seeing that you have been able to reveal this secret. Then the king made Daniel great and gave him many gifts and made him rule over the whole province of Babylon and be chief prefect over all the wise men of wise men of Babylon. And Daniel requested the king, and he appointed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel was in the gate of the king. Now we come to the 3rd chapter, and this sets up why Nebuchadnezzar does exactly what he did. Daniel chapter 3, verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. It's only made of gold. Nebuchadnezzar is securing his position. The image is only of gold. It's not gold plus silver plus brass plus iron plus clay. It's only gold. This is verse 2. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent together the satraps, the prefects, the governors, judges, treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, and all the rulers of all the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the satraps and prefects and governors, judges, treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together in the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And the herald cried out, to you it is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that at what time you hear the sound of the hornpipe, harp, trigon, psaltery, bagpipe, and all kinds of music, fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And whoso does not fall down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the horn, pipe, harp, trigon, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Why is this important to Nebuchadnezzar? He wants all his leadership and all the people in his command to worship the golden image as a way to validate to him, oh no, maybe this isn't going to come to pass and I'm going to be king until I die, and then my kingdom will be a lasting kingdom, one will last forever. Should sound familiar to you. Now, wherefore at the time certain Chaldeans came near and brought accusation against the Jews, and basically they're telling Nebuchadnezzar, hey, these Jews, that you brought here, okay, exiled from their land, okay, they're not worshiping what you set up. Look at chapter 3, verse 12. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded you. They serve not your gods, nor worship the golden image which you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then were these men brought before the king. He says, I understand you have your own gods, but you better worship my God. And they say, ain't going to happen. Okay? Verse 17, if our God whom we serve is able to deliver us, he will deliver us from the burning fiery furnace and out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods, nor worship the golden image which you have set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar, this is verse 19, then was Nebuchadnezzar filled with fury, and the form of his visions was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He spoke and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. And he commanded certain mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then the men were bound in their cloaks, their tunics, and their robes, and their other garments were cast in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Okay? Verse 22. Therefore, because the king's commandment was peremptory, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire slew the men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was alarmed, and this is the key line. Okay, the next couple of verses. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was alarmed and rose up in haste. He spoke and said to his ministers, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods. Chapter 3, verse 25. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods. Okay. Verse 26, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace. He spoke and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants of God Most High, come forth and come hither. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire, and the satraps, prefects, governors, king's ministers, being gathered together, saw these men that the fire had no power over them. Okay, not even the smell of smoke coming out of them. Okay, we'll stop there for the moment. I want you to now look at Daniel chapter 3, verse 25.
Daniel 3 what?
Daniel 3:25. That's the key line to all this.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't know what you're using, William, but
there you go.
Can you bring up the Aramaic? Remember, this is Aramaic. This is not.
I can't bring up the Aramaic. I don't have. I've got like a Hebrew Bible from Chabad, but I don't have. Would it be in Aramaic? Would it be printed like in the Chabad version?
Website? Yes.
Oh, it would. Okay, cool. Okay, 1 second then.
Yeah.
All right, one second. Let me pull that up here.
Okay, what I want you to notice in what you see pulled up already is that this is like the Son of God is in capital letters, okay, and the word God was singular in what William had quoted. Capitalization automatically means it's a Christian interpretation, okay? And let's talk about the Son of God for a minute.
Okay, 3:25, right?
Right.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get this here. Okay, is it going to be the same in the Hebrew Bible? It says, then behold, I see 4 free men walking in the fire. Is that the one?
Yeah, we can start there.
Okay, so it's 25 and 26. Got it. Okay, very good. All right, 1 second. Let me adjust my screen here and scoot this over so you guys can see it.
There's a reason why this is important to see the Hebrew.
Okay, you are, give it about 10 seconds and you'll see it on the screen.
All right.
Hebrew and English.
Right. See, remember how I keep saying that's perfect, okay?
I just moved it, sorry. It's going to move it a little bit, so.
Okay, well, when it does, move it back. Okay, this is perfect what you have, where you can see 25 and 26 on the screen, okay? In this translation, he called out and said, behold, I see 4 free men walking in the midst of the fire, and there is no wound among them, and the form of the 4th one is like that of an angel. Why is it that in the translation you originally had, it said son of gods? Okay,
that's
here
crazy.
It says angel. Okay, but wait, there's a reason for that.
That is cool.
Okay,
though.
why is the Jewish one interpreting this as angel? And the Christian one explicitly wanted to say, Son of God.
Right.
Note the Hebrew. I'm sorry, I apologize. Note the Aramaic.
Okay, and that's on 25, right?
It's verse 25.
Give it a second. I'm going to zoom in on it.
No, you are okay. Zoom in on
Yep.
it. Okay.
So that's really interesting, though. They specifically called out Son of God, and it literally just says Labar Elohim.
Exactly. Lavar
Labar.
Elohim.
Yeah.
Okay. Now. Okay. Var Elohim, if you translate it literally, means son of gods. Okay? There's no arguing with that. But this is Aramaic. This is not Hebrew.
So the translators didn't know that this was actually Hebrew. They thought
what?
The translators thought this was Hebrew. They didn't know it was Aramaic.
Oh no! Even if they thought it was Hebrew, they'd wind up with the same thing.
Oh.
And here's why. Okay, using the same Chabad thingy. Okay, go to Job chapter 1.
Okay.
Go to Job chapter 1.
I'm getting my screen back to the right size here. 1 second. There it is, Job 1. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's hit the home button.
I think this is hysterically funny.
Why did that not work? Home? I thought the home button was supposed to cause this thing to go to the top of the page. It did not work on this computer. It's okay. I gotta scroll away. All right.
Well, the same way you got here, just take us to Job chapter 1.
You want the Hebrew or both?
Both would be good.
Okay.
Because
there you go.
When you see this.
Whoa! I didn't know it was Job also.
What?
I didn't know King Nebuchadnezzar was actually mentioned in Job.
He's not. You're still in.
Oh my gosh! Oh, what the?
Yeah.
Oh, why did it not go there? I guess I got to hit the go button. Okay, good deal. All right, there was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job.
Okay. All right. Now, I want you to go down, I think it's to verse 6.
Okay, now the day came about, and the angels of God came to stand beside the Lord.
Wait a minute. Who'd you say?
It says, now the day came
about, and the angels of God came to stand beside the Lord, and the adversary too came among them.
Angels, plural.
Look at the verse.
Right.
Vayahi hayom vayaba'u v'nei ha'elohim lihi yasav all, next to God.
So even there it says angels of God, not sons of God.
And if you take a look at any translation that I can think of, any translation, Job chapter 1 verse 6 translates this as angels.
Right. And in reality, to be son of, that would just be Ben, not B'nai, right?
Well, son would be Ben, okay, sons, okay, would
Benim.
be B'nai. But remember, okay, bar is Aramaic.
Right.
Okay, and remember, you know how in Psalm 2 or Psalm 22, I forgot which one it is, where the Christians will say, Nashku bar, kiss the son.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bar only means son in Aramaic, and there is not a single Aramaic word in any of the Psalms. Okay, so that whole thing gets thrown out too. But the important thing to note is that, like in Judaism, we have a bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah does not. Bar mitzvah is Aramaic. Okay, it means son of the commandments. Except every mother can tell you commandments do not give birth to the child. Mothers give birth to the child.
Right.
So bar is like, William, if I say, William, you are son of YouTube, it means you're a member of YouTube.
Right.
If I say, William, you're a son of my synagogue, that means you're a member of my synagogue. Same thing in Hebrew. Bar mitzvah means a member of the community that's commanded by God.
Yep.
Okay? Fully a member, fully capable of keeping and responsible for keeping God's laws. Okay, Bar Elohim means members of those who believe in God. It doesn't mean literally God gave birth to them. And that's why every translation I can think of, every translation I've ever been able to look at, always says that, let's see, wait a minute. Let's see, what did I just say? Job 1:6, okay, and let's see, there we go. Job 1:6 in all English translations. King James 2:1, whatever that, okay, sons of God. ASV, now it came to pass in the day when the sons of God came to present themselves. However, AMP, whatever that is, sons of God, parentheses, angels. AMPC, now there was a day when the sons, parentheses, the angels of God. Okay. CEB, one day the divine beings came to present themselves before the eternal. Okay. Let's see. CEB, one day when the angels had gathered around the Lord. Okay. Darby. Okay. And there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before Jehovah. Okay, let's see. ESV. Boy, there sure are a lot more saying sons of God than I thought.
Right.
Okay, but
it says sons of God rather than son of, like the Son of God.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. ISV. One day divine beings presented themselves to the Lord. Okay. Let's see. Trying to look at NASB. No, that's okay. Then I withdraw what I said. Okay, NCV, one day the angels came to show themselves. NIRV, one day, NIV, here's the NIV. The NIV, one day the angels came to present themselves. Okay, let's see. I don't even know most of these. RSV, Sons of God, okay. The Voice, now one day it came time for the sons of God, and then in italics, God's heavenly messengers, okay? Even if they say sons of God, they're interpreting it as messengers. Now, let's go back to Daniel 3.
3 what verse? 25?
Well, okay, start at 25. We're not going to stay there long.
Okay, 25, then King Nebuchadnezzar. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Got it.
Because it's, well, you'll see. All right.
Whoa, 325. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, 25. He called out and said, behold, I see 4 men. Okay, 4 free men.
Right. Okay, so go to Daniel 3, 27, 28.
Okay, 27's at the bottom. Scrolling now.
Okay. If you can, get Daniel 3, 27 and Daniel 3, 28.
You got it.
Okay. Is it up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So 27, the Nebuchadnezzar approached the gate of the burning fiery furnace. Okay. You know, this is driving me crazy when 10 minutes later it gets moved.
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
Okay. All right, so 27. And the satraps, the prefects, the governors, the king's ministers, being gathered together, saw these men that the fire had no power upon their bodies, nor was the hair of their heads singed, neither were their cloaks changed, nor had the smell of fire passed on them. And here's the important line. Daniel chapter 3, verse 28. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel in the book of Daniel. The book of Daniel itself calls the fourth person, the fourth entity in the fire, an angel. But it does not use in the Aramaic the word for son of God, sons of God.
It also doesn't say the angel.
No.
Right.
It says, well, it's Aramaic. It says
right.
Malacha. Okay, the hey on the end in Aramaic is like the hey in the front of the word, which means the.
And malacha in Hebrew would mean work, not angels.
Yes, but malach.
Right. Malach.
Malach.
Oh yeah. Oh,
is
malach.
angel. Okay, so
I
if
see.
you take a look at the Hebrew, okay,
Okay.
Ana Nebuchadnezzar Amar Brich Elahahon, okay, the Shadrach Meshach Abednego, the Shalach Malacha. It uses the same word as we understand for angel, malach, the malach, and there. So the book of Daniel itself understands that this is not a literal son of God. It's not a Jesus. It's an angel. Now wait, is Jesus an angel or is Jesus the son of God and divine? They can't have it both ways. The book of Daniel explicitly says that the fourth entity in the fire was Malach. Okay? And if you bring that up in the Aramaic, you can see it.
Gotcha. Well,
Okay?
Right. Okay. Okay, so somebody said, a friend of mine said they came on, they saw my channel, a local friend who lives here.
Okay.
Him and his wife, they're like your age, older couple.
Old men. Yeah.
Much older than I myself. I'm totally kidding. Really sweet people though.
Thank you, William.
And he goes, yeah. He said, by the way, I saw your channel. I was like, oh, really cool. I said, he goes, I don't agree with any of it. Inside, I just kind of chuckled because it's like, it's not for you to agree with. It's informing you what the truth is. You can agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the truth.
Right.
We don't present this to try to convince you
Well
or
put.
to try to sway you. We present this for you so that you have it. And if you decide you want it later, you can. If you decide you don't want it, that's up to you. But it is the only truth. So anyway, same thing.
At any rate, the whole thing with the book of Daniel, okay, is that it uses the Aramaic bar Elohim, meaning member of the community that believes in God. Okay, it's understood in many translations, if not most, because I didn't look at all of them. Okay, and because it's understood that it means angels. And in the book of Daniel itself, in the same chapter, it refers to that entity who was in the fire with the three as a malacha,
Right.
as a malach, as the angel.
Right on.
So even the text of the book of Daniel itself precludes it from being Jesus.
Right on. Yep, for sure.
Took a long time to explain all that.
I know,
but,
it's okay.
But how can you argue with the text itself?
Right.
When the text itself explicitly says it's an angel, not a Jesus, not a son of God. So, all
there
right.
you go. Okay, Rabbi, let's sit tight for just a minute. I'm going to take about a 49-second pause, if it's okay.
Yeah, but who's counting?
All right. Shalom, my dear friends. I just want to say thank you all for your support of the channel over the past 8 years. Many of you don't know, many of you do. I've been recently fired from my job because of this channel. And for the first time, I've actually been put in a situation to where I can take some time and invest towards making Tanakh Talk much better. Better platform, more organized, better quality videos, emails, much shared different content, things like that. So if you guys would be willing, please consider donating monthly to help sustain Tanakh Talk and our family so we can keep this thing going and make it better than it ever has been before. There's going to be some links provided for you in the video description area below the video. Please, if you don't mind, check those out. Greatly appreciate it. Shalom, everybody. Hopefully that was kind of painless for you guys.
Yeah, we're just sitting here reading.
That's okay. Sometimes it gives me a chance to just kind of like chillax. What's up? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you guys. Good to see all the people out there. Ray Oshima, Taz, Golden Gun, Antoine. Oh yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Charles Dowling, welcome back. Crystal Cheney's here. Steve Mullen. See a lot of Larry Beck.
I'm going to be seeing Christo in the next few days.
Larry Beck. Larry, are you going to be coming to Dallas? You should be. You're like right next door, basically. Cool. Okay. Yeah,
Alloy. That was the word I couldn't think of.
What was? Oh, alloy. Oh, yeah. Right. Very good. Awesome. Okay, so Steve Mullen asked a question.
Timestamp?
Yep, it just happened, 7:50. So in your feast of unleavened bread, you take the 3 pieces of bread, the middle.
Four pieces. Go ahead.
Hold on, 3 pieces of bread. Hold on, I'm curious if this is actually getting mixed up. So in your feast of unleavened bread, you take 3 pieces of bread. That's what it said. The middle piece called. No, this is not. This. Oh yeah, in Passover. Yeah. Okay, got it. Sorry, I'm not used to the Christian terminology of that. There you go. Is pierced and striped in baking over linen and hidden. So I don't mean to chuckle. Dude, I used to preach what you're saying, Steve Mullen. I mean, we had Passover seders 4 years in a row in our house as a Messianic teacher, and every year I got closer and closer to the truth, realizing none of that works at all. It is so wrong. I was a minister for 10 years. About 4 of that was a Messianic. Before that, I was like a just diehard Christian, street preacher. I was a what do they call the street preachers? Like corner evangelists, whatever. So, but let's talk about that for a minute. Steve Mullen, we're going to take your point and we'll discuss that for just a little bit, okay? So, Rabbi, what would be your commentary on that?
Okay. So what he's trying to say is that Jesus is found shadow or whatever you want to call it in the Passover Seder. There's a lot of problems with that. First of all, he said 3 pieces of bread. Many families have 4 right now and have for about 60, 70 years. If you take a look at the original Mishnah passages on the earliest Passover Seder, which did not exist until about 40, 50 years after Jesus was dead and buried.
Hey, Rabbi.
Yeah.
Pause 1 second. I want to make a quick call out. So Team Hop, actually, you know what we're going to do? Andre, I'm going to put that back up for a few minutes, the comment. See if you can reveal that statement again real fast from Team Hop, Andrea. But Team Hop, for now, Andrea's got you in timeout, and I want you and who was the other person I was talking with? Steve Mullen. If you would, just pay attention to this session right now, because
they're not going to pay attention.
Because right now, what Rabbi is
they're here to plant their mustard seeds of faith.
Rabbi, hold on. Okay. So, but my point is, if you want the truth, not what you've been taught, that's not the truth. That is a completely painted over version of what the truth actually is to try to push the Jesus agenda. If you want to know what the historical truth is about the Tanakh and about what the Hebrew Scriptures actually teach, which is mistranslated and misunderstood by the church, you need to stop typing and stop looking at chat and just listen to what the rabbi's fixing to say. Okay? If
they're even still here.
You guys need to just chill out and just listen to this. Rabbi, go ahead and take it away.
All right. In the original description of a Passover Seder. Seders hadn't been invented when Jesus died on the cross. Okay, the Seder is a specific ritual invented because of the temple's destruction in the year 70. Jesus is dead by 33, let's say. So you're talking 37 years. That's not quite 2 generations later. Okay. And in the original description in the Mishnah, there's 1 1/2 piece of bread, 1 1/2 piece of unleavened bread that's used at the Seder. Not 2, not 3. As late as the 1700s, okay, you had Passover Haggadahs written where they only described 2 pieces of bread. Jesus would have known nothing of a Passover Seder, nothing of the ritual of taking 3 pieces of bread, 3 pieces of matzah. Bread means leavened bread, and that's another problem with the whole Passover Seder thing. Okay? They would have taken the nickname for matzah is lechemoni, bread of affliction. People who are poor man's bread. Okay, a poor man doesn't have a whole piece of bread, doesn't have a whole piece of matzah. So you start off with 1 and 1/2. Why 1 1/2? Not 2? Like, the reason why you have 2 is because how many portions of manna did they get on Friday so they didn't have to work on Saturday to go get the manna?
Double portion.
Double portion.
Double portion.
But it's poor man's bread, so they have to have less than 2. They have 1 1/2.
Right.
Okay. Over time, it became 2, and then many years later, like about the 18th century, they actually increased it to 3 pieces. Now there are families who have 4 pieces of bread. Okay.
Right.
So, and by the way, if you start out with 1 1/2, you can't take the middle. There's no middle. You got 1 1/2. There's nothing in the middle. So your idea of taking the middle one, why is it, 3 pieces, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Okay. The middle piece is called the afikomen, and it's not pierced, like stabbed, okay. They run a certain device over it because they're getting rid of the air bubbles. Because when you bake it and bake it quickly, it can have air bubbles. So they're not piercing it, they're just getting rid of the air bubbles, okay? And the only reason it's striped is because in the 1850s, 1860s, they invented a machine that would use these needle-like structures to pull the dough through the machine, and it would wind up looking like stripes made of holes. So the whole idea of pierced and striped in baking is 150 years old, not 2022 years old. Next thing you say, it's covered in linen, hidden away, and found amid great rejoicing. I don't remember ever having great rejoicing because where did this come from? In the 1600s, so we're talking 1600 plus years, again, after Jesus was dead and buried, the Jews of Germany realized that they had to do something because their children were falling asleep in the seder. And so they made a game out of it that they would hide the afikomen, and then they would give an award, a prize, to the kid who found it. So it wasn't hidden away, like being buried in a cave and then brought out with great rejoicing. That's just patent nonsense. In the original description, it is set aside to be used later at the end of the meal, like dessert. So pierced and striped, covered in linen, hidden away, found made great rejoicing, 3 pieces of bread, wrong on all counts. Next thing I want you to remember, go take a look, Steve, at the Koine Greek of the Gospels.
Just to be clear,
in Hebrew, there are 2 words for bread. One is lechem, which means leavened bread. The second kind is called matzah, which means unleavened bread. You have 2 separate words in the Koine Greek, artos and edzumos. You have 2 separate words in the Latin, the Vulgate as well. Every single description in every single place of the kind of bread that Jesus had at the Last Supper was artos, leavened bread, not unleavened bread. If Jesus was eating unleavened bread, it would use the different word adzumos. Instead, it says that at the Last Supper of Jesus, he had leavened bread. Okay? The Bible in Exodus 12, describing the celebration of Passover, lists 3 symbols: the Passover lamb, the unleavened bread, and bitter herbs. Please show me in any of the 4 Gospels where the bitter herbs are even mentioned at the Last Supper of Jesus. So he doesn't have unleavened bread, he's got leavened bread. You can't even prove to me that it was even Passover according to the description of your own New Testament.
right.
Okay, next thing, and this is very important to understand. Pizza also shows Jesus. The minimal thing you need for pizza is a layer of bread.
Oh my gosh.
A layer of tomato sauce,
That's the
which
blood.
is red like blood,
Oh, so Jesus was Italian.
and cheese on top of the whole thing. So you could say the bread is spread out, and pizza, by the way, also has devices to make holes so it doesn't have bubbles in it.
Yep.
Okay, so, it's also striped and pierced, the dough. The blood of Jesus, represented by the red tomato sauce, is spread over everything because Jesus' blood covers everybody's sins. Okay, and the cheese covers that. So what you're saying is that in the same way that your analogy with Passover seder shows the Hebrew roots of Passover, I guess the pizza shows the pizza roots of Jesus.
Right.
I can make an analogy out of anything. I can make up whatever I want, especially after the fact.
Absolutely.
But they're trying to make the description of the Passover seder, which came hundreds and hundreds of years after Jesus was dead and buried,
right,
as if it was a indication, an analogy of something that happened earlier, not later or afterwards. If I'm going to have a type and shadow, then my type and shadow is going to be of something that comes later, not before it. Unless you accept my idea of, the pizza roots of Christianity. Like they'll say the Hebrew roots of Christianity.
Right.
This is the pizza roots of Christianity. So, wrong on every single thing, every phrase you mentioned in your comment.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so Steve Mullen says, your reason is so off base and flawed. Jesus was Jewish, his apostles were Jewish, and John the Baptist was Jewish. He fulfilled over 300 Old Testament prophecies. You do that now. Well, I don't pretend to be anything I'm not. Like Christians pretend Jesus was something he wasn't. That's first. Second of all, you say that Jesus was Jewish, his apostles were Jewish, John the Baptist was Jewish. So what?
Rabbi,
Martin Luther was an ordained Catholic priest, but somehow I just don't think that Roman Catholics believe that Lutheranism is Catholicism. Also, have you ever heard of the Unification Church, the Reverend Sun Myung Moon, the Moonies? He was an ordained Presbyterian minister, but somehow I don't think that the Presbyterian Church believes that the Moonies, the Unification Church, is Presbyterian.
Right.
Just because somebody is Jewish doesn't mean they hold Jewish values, doesn't mean they believe in Judaism. It just means that their ancestry was Jewish. And if they haven't converted to anything else, they're still Jewish. But it doesn't mean that everything they create is inherently Jewish just because they are Jewish. Okay?
Okay, so what I would like, because there are some comments. I'm going to see if I can entice him to actually call in. Steve Mullen, I would like for you to call in actually, because there's some comments that you're saying that is troubling to you, and I get that. Whether it's sincere or not doesn't matter. The questions are for great content, and also they need to be answered. So the number's on your screen, and I will, if you're calling in and you're not Steve Mullen, and I will actually probably disconnect. So I want to open a phone line specifically.
While you're doing that,
yes, the phone line is open, by the way.
Teresa Terry says, sorry they are disrespectful to your holy Passover Seder. Teresa, it's not just that they're disrespectful, it's that they're insulting. It's they're taking my holy day rituals, and they're saying that we're too blind and stupid to see their Jesus in it. It's like somebody who doesn't know an aleph from those are two letters of the Hebrew alphabet.
Right.
Okay, they don't know an aleph from a bet, and they're trying to tell us what the Hebrew says.
Okay, so Robert, is it the same Robert? Robert Harrison, I think, right? I believe so. He says the oral law was given, the written law was written, oral law was given. So,
he says the oral law was invented.
Invented. There you go.
Right.
So
okay.
I would appreciate if you called in, because I would rather have us to have like a three-way dialogue. In fact, I'll even just like tone out completely and let you and Rabbi talk, because going back and forth in chat is not really getting anywhere, because number one, you're not paying attention because you're more focused on the text than you are the audio.
Teresa, I know. I am just adding to it. I'm just venting, if you want to know the truth. So thank you for letting me vent.
Right. Okay, so Steve. Oh, Steve, not Robert. Steve is the one I want to call in. Okay, so Steve, you say he talks in circles and uses ridiculous logic. Then call in. If you really believe what you're saying, you would call in right now and let's have an open conversation. Now, I'm going to moderate this so you and Rabbi can have a conversation. So so I will keep you guys from talking over each other. If you really believe that, and if you're as smart as you think you are, call that number on your screen. Well, actually, I'll put it on the screen. Call the number in chat, 855-952-4253. I'll put it in there.
Thank you, Teresa. Okay, Rose says the following: my son was never circumcised. I have a question. If we are following Hashem, is he supposed to be? We are not Jewish, but we are trying to do everything we can to get closer to Hashem. Good for you to get closer to Hashem. But remember, it's only the Jews, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, and those who convert to Judaism, the religion of the Jewish people, who are commanded to be circumcised. So there's no reason for you to circumcise your son unless when he is, I don't know how old your son is, but when he gets older, he may want to convert to Judaism. I sincerely hope he does convert to Judaism and become a Jew, at which time, yes, he will have to be circumcised. But right now, you have no reason to get him circumcised because you're not Jewish, you're not commanded. And there are many, many other ways to get closer to God. And I'd invite you to test the water, so to speak, and consider full conversion.
Very welcome, Mr. Ernest Rosenthal. Very nice. Okay,
Yeah,
so Robert Harrison says, circumcise your heart.
Yes,
a
biblical concept.
Listen, for me, as a Messianic, I was a Messianic again, like I mentioned, for, I think 5 years. I don't know. I can't remember back that far. It might have been between 3.5 to 5 years, 3.5, 4.5 years, whatever the case may be. Long enough for me to study it and understand. But I was a Christian teacher for long before that. So circumcise your heart. I would be willing to bet money right now that you could not quote from Tanakh where that comes from, nor what it actually means based on the Hebrew scriptures. I'm just saying. Nick Mooney, thank you, brother. Appreciate that $5 tip. Thank you. It's a good cup of coffee right there.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, Rose, he is 9 and wants to become Jewish. 9, he's already probably old enough where it needs to be it needs to be done surgically, and then afterwards he can have a hatafat dam brit, a taking of the drop of blood from the same place. It's not, like Christo says, it's not exactly comfortable. Okay, and when you're older, I don't know about 9, you'd have to discuss this with a moil, with a person trained to do Jewish, to do circumcision for the sake of becoming Jewish. As a 9-year-old, I'm not sure what he would want him to do. When people are converted to Judaism through me, they have to be circumcised, and if you're an adult, it's full surgery, knock you out kind of thing. So, okay.
Listen, guys, I'm telling you, I used to argue on Facebook with rabbis like Rabbi Eli Cohen from Rabbi, Eli Cohen from Rabbi Michael Skobac. I was like a companion there. I used to argue with him. I say used to, like we did tons. We didn't do it tons. I only did like 2 or 3 times. Bringing up things when I was a Messianic to him that to me there was no way he could possibly debunk, and every single one of them he just completely snapped in half, like what I had was a straw man argument, and it actually was. But because I was told you can never forsake Jesus, I was horrified, and so I was like, I was going to defend Jesus, Yeshua, to the death, and eventually just stopped defending it and just started learning, and then realized that I was the one that was mistaken the whole time. So, yep, it's very very intriguing for sure. So,
by the way, now I forgot who it was.
Well, whoever it was decided not to call in, so apparently they weren't that.
Well, no, I was referring to something else.
Oh.
I can't find it. But he said that watching Messianic seders makes him want to throw up. I can only agree with you.
Oh, I totally agree. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because it's a perversion. Theologically, it's a perversion. Okay. It's.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it might have been Golden Gun. Oh, yeah. Golden Gun makes us want to throw up seeing a Messianic Seder.
Right.
Okay. How would they feel? Look, here's my analogy. Okay, and you've all heard this before. Okay, in the Quran, the Bible, so to speak, of Muslims, it explicitly talks about Jesus. It calls him the Messiah, and explicitly says there's going to be a second coming of Jesus as the Messiah. So therefore, Jesus is in fact a part of the Islamic faith. How would they feel if a mosque decided to give communion? And when they give communion, they show that it's really actually all about their Muhammad. But they're going to give communion. They're going to explain communion. And when they explain it, they're going to explain it about being about really all about Muhammad and make an analogy between Muhammad and Jesus. How would you feel about that? If you're really honest with yourself, you probably wouldn't like it. Well, guess what? Neither do we Jews. I've had churches call me, ask me to help them with the pronunciation of a messianic of a Jewish seder in a Christian church, and I explained to them about the mosque, and they don't like it, but they understand me. They understand why I won't do it.
Right.
It's amazing to me. Yeah, Charles. Steve, take the Jesus glasses off, buddy.
Right.
Yep.
My wife came in.
Where was the guy? Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let's. Who was the guy who was talking about the 300? I can't find it.
So Chrissy came in a minute ago, and I put the camera on her, but I forgot to send the video feed to the live. She was waving, acting all cute. Oh, man. It's okay. Robert Harris. Rose Schroer, good to see you. Hello. Teresa Terry, thank you again, by the way.
Oh.
Jacob Steele.
Yeah, Team Hop.
Very good. Wow, it's already been an hour? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's been more than an hour.
Oh, my gosh. It feels like it's been like a half an hour.
I know. Well, there was a lot to... I probably read too much from the book of Daniel.
No, that's okay.
But,
that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's good coverage. Good coverage. We don't do fake news around here. So
the rabbis would not convert such a person. What is he talking about? What person? What kind of person?
Okay, so Robert Harrison, let me comment to Robert Harrison real fast. He says, ask all converts to Judaism will not convert Gentiles. That is, okay, so first of all, you have to understand, hold on. You have to understand your terminology may be skewed. There's Gentiles who are like pagan people. They're not going to convert a pagan. But then there's righteous Gentiles who want to follow the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they get converted all the time. So I think you're getting your information from bad sources. That's all.
Yeah, I think he's getting it from...
Yep.
Rabbis won't ever convert him to Judaism.
Right.
Yeah, they will. There is an enormous number of people every single day making inquiries about conversion to Judaism, or at least learning about Judaism, even if they decide not to fully convert.
Okay, so Robert mentions another thing. He said, Gentiles all say they make them wait forever. There is a waiting period. The thing about it is, when you convert to Judaism, it's like getting a tattoo. Once you get it, you're done. You cannot go back. So the whole purpose is to make sure you can do it, for one thing, and secondly, to give you, the longer you take to get it, the more confident they are that once you do get it, you're going to stay committed to it, right? Before you convert to Judaism, if you decide to eat pork, or if you decide not to keep the Sabbath, that's not a sin to you, according to the majority. But the moment you convert to Judaism, all these things become sinful to you. So is it better for a rabbi to convert you overnight so that you can become a sinner if you fail to follow all these laws? Or is it wiser, would it be a loving parent to train their child really, really well before they turn them off into the workforce? So your argument is very, I got to be careful not to insult you, very ill-informed. I'll use that phrase. It's very ill-informed. That's not how it works. It does take a while, but there's reasons for it.
And some rabbis may take longer than others. Remember, there are personalities involved. Yep. Not only the rabbi's personality, but your personality. Yep. Okay? Conversion to Judaism is not just the memorization of a bunch of facts and figures and time periods and whatever else. It's also the people adopt you as part of them, and you adopt them as part of you.
Right.
Okay, depending on your personality. You know, I got to tell you something. My conversion class is 2 years long. It used to be 1 year.
2 years
And
is
I
way
just-
better. 2 years is way better.
Well, it is, and I realized that
Oh my
there's
gosh,
just
yeah.
so much I wasn't getting to, but the rest of the world seemed to be 1 year. So,
Yep.
but I think I'm the only person I know of who's 2 year program.
Most people that I know are aware of like horticulture and the whole. I hope I said the right word. You know, they have trees that you can buy for people who build new houses. They have trees that are really fast growing trees. So you can, like in 3 years, you can have this full size tree, right? But the tree doesn't last very long. It'll eventually die out. So, you know, you anything you rush to try to get it done is going to have a hard time surviving. So the longer it takes to build it, the much better off you are. That's why they even say with kids who crawl, for example, somebody said, well, my kid was walking when he was 6 months old, and he turns out to be as dumb as a brick. But the scientists really have said that the longer it takes your kids to learn how to walk, the longer they crawl, the more long-term memory they actually develop. So there's a lot to be said in taking your time and doing it right. That's the point.
All right, Zane Lyons, have you interacted with the work of Dr. Michael Heiser and the two powers in heaven stuff? I know a little bit about it, but not enough to respond, and I have not interacted with the work of Dr. Michael Heiser. I would ask Tovia, I'd ask Michael Skobac, but I personally have not. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, Steve Mullen, I want to say real fast, you just commented again. He says to call on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, by the way, permanently scarred when he appeared. Okay, so point is, Steve, we wanted you to call in. And since you're not willing to call in and state your question, I'm going to have to put you in like a timeout.
Permanently
Because you're not
scarred
really
when
listening.
he appeared. What is he talking about?
That I don't know. At this point, I've pleaded with him several times to go and call in to really like reason with our conversation, but apparently he's not willing to do that. So, okay.
Yeah, it's like I said. They don't care what we say. It's hit and run.
Yep. Right.
It's not a dialogue.
But listen. Just because if you're one of the unlucky ones that actually have been blocked from the channel chat doesn't mean you can't watch. It just means you can't actually chat. The point is not to be mean to you, but to cause you to spend more time focusing on what we're saying and what the rabbis are saying than everybody else's various conversations in chat, which are going in and out of the topics. So pulling you out of being able to chat is simply causing you to stop typing. Maybe that'll get you to focus more on the actual content. So
They don't care what we say.
Yeah.
Hit and run, plant the seed of faith.
Yep. Very good.
They just kind of forget that there's also such thing as planting the mustard seed of doubt.
Right. Yep. Very good. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap this up for now. So, Rabbi, thank you for your time. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this ad video again. Many of you know this actually just happened. So
Robert says the written Torah says blood is the only thing that atones. Really? Where is that? Show that to me.
Oh, that was earlier on. He made that comment earlier on. Yeah, and actually,
if 8:15. He made it 3
if you scroll
minutes
down,
ago.
you'll see my comment in reply to that. Yeah,
Where?
it's in there.
Oh, I mean much earlier.
Yeah, much earlier. Yeah, if you see it again in a later time, it's because he copied and pasted it. He repeated his comment. So
Yeah, see, because he didn't respond to whatever it is you said.
right on. Okay, so so guys, I'm gonna throw this video out there again for you in as a closing, just because it's about that time. This what you're fixing to see actually just happened last week, and there's Tanakh Talk has taken a huge transition in the past week, and I'm really hoping that you guys will join on board with this journey with me and all the rabbis. So I appreciate you guys very much. So many of you have actually contributed already. I literally have been working more overtime the last 2 days, and I love it. Due to Tanakh Talk and all the time it takes like 4 hours to edit one video, and so. But I'm enjoying this. This is what I feel like I was meant to do, and this is where we're all at in this journey. So, you guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you same time, same place next week, Hashem willing. Y'all have a great evening. Thank you. Shalom, my dear friends. I just want to say thank you all for your support of the channel over the past 8 years. Many of you don't know, many of you do. I've been recently fired from my job because of this channel. And for the first time, I've actually been put in a situation to where I can take some time and invest towards making Tanakh Talk much better platform, more organized, better quality videos, emails, this, much shared different content, things like that. So if you guys would be willing, please consider donating monthly to help sustain Tanakh Talk and our family so we can keep this thing going and make it better than it ever has been before. There's going to be some links provided for you in the video description area below the video. Please, if you don't mind, check those out. Greatly appreciate it. Shalom, everybody. Shalom, my dear friends. I just want to say thank you all for your support of the channel over the past 8 years.
חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד. איפוק זו העוצמה, ויתור זו הגדולה, השאיפה והכמיהה. אני אתה אתם תמיד תמיד כולם ביחד, חשוב מכל חשוב והכרחי